I was 9 years old when I decided I wanted to be an architect, and specifically residential. I grew up here in Greensboro, and I grew up in the county, and I can tell you the day. It was actually in June of 1976.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Prosperity Builders broadcast. We're really excited to bring you showcasing local businesses, community leaders. And Karen, we've got a great person to speak with tonight. Tell us a little bit about our guest.
We have one of my most favorite people, architect Stephen Jobe. And Stephen has designed so many homes, and from a small little bathroom remodel to a huge brand new home, and his talent is unbelievable. But welcome,
Stephen.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Well, tell us, a lot of people get into architecture and they don't really, they know they kind of like it, but what got you into designing buildings and homes?
Well, I was 9 years old when I decided I wanted to be an architect, and specifically residential. I grew up here in Greensboro, and I grew up in the county, and I can tell you the day. It was actually in June of 1976.
Wow, that is amazing.
And my brothers, I had two older brothers and two cousins lived nearby, and we had a lot of property and pine needles that we would rake up and just pretend, my house is here, yours is here, and we were just pretending one day. And my cousins had a really long asphalt driveway that we would treat as the road. And we would take chalk and make the dash line down the middle and rake up the pine needles and just pretend, and we would just have fun in the summertime. And my older cousin one day was drawing something, and I went over to see what he was drawing, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm drawing my floor plan of my house." I had never seen that. I didn't know what that was, but I was really intrigued by that. And so I got a piece of paper, and I started drawing my pretend house plan. And back then, if you remember, bean bags were a big thing.
Yeah.
My cousins had a fish bowl, pool table, all that stuff showed up on my, the best thing was the squiggly line for the telephone cord that was 20 feet long. Right. So I drew that house plan, and I took it home, was all excited about it, showed it to my parents, and my mom said, "Well, that's what an architect does." And I said, "Well, that's what I want to do when I grow up."
That's amazing.
And I really, just from then on, that's what I always wanted to do, was design houses, and specifically houses. I always loved architecture, but specifically residential was my love. Legos were a big thing right then. My brothers and I had just gotten the big box of Legos at Christmas, so I started building houses with Legos. And then got more sophisticated as time went on. I made my own houses to scale with my Matchbox cars. Just like people would build model railroads with trains, I would do the same with Matchbox cars and have.
So the car fit into the garage?
Fit into the garage. I actually had garage doors that worked.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And the street, landscaped like a model railroad would be. I remember I had in fact, I have a short video of me when I was 12 with that neighborhood that I had built. So honestly, I feel like I get to play every day designing people's houses, and it's just really fun.
Well, one thing I tell everyone that I think you have a unique talent in that you have the creative ability to see things and what they can be. Mm-hmm. But you also have the ability to listen to what they want. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of architects that I see, they'll design something, but they're not designing for what their client wants. Right. They're designing for what they think their client wants.
Right.
And that is a talent you have that I haven't really seen in very many architects.
Thank you. It's sort of I think within the architecture community, it's I think it's kind of a known thing that architects can be kind of arrogant and full of themselves or think they know it all. I think from what I understand about Frank Lloyd Wright, he was difficult to get along with, but obviously incredibly talented.
Yes.
I always tell my clients, bottom line is their house, and it's their money, but I'm going to give them my advice based on a lot of things, function, aesthetics, resale value, appropriateness of the design. I do a lot of remodeling, which I love. That's actually one of my favorite kind of projects to do. And my goal is, when I'm doing a remodel, is that when it's done, I don't want it to look like they remodeled or added on. I want just people to say, what a beautiful house. And so that's fun and challenging to me, to take something that doesn't work and make it work, make it look good, make it function well. And I see that as just a real challenge. A lot of times I'll use the analogy of working a jigsaw puzzle, and clients bring me pieces that are things that they like and want, and I'm putting together the puzzle without having a final picture. If it's a final picture then it's there, then I'm just drafting. I'm just drawing what they tell me. I'm not doing that.
Well, I think we have some.
I was going to say before, because I think it's really cute. We may have some folks that are listening in that have thought about maybe hiring an architect. And so tell us just a little bit about the design process as you begin to meet with clients. What does that look like? And I'm just really curious, how you begin to incorporate their ideas into the broader, scope of what you're going to build for.
Yeah, so Karen had kind of alluded to that earlier, of just listening to them. So the first thing I would do is consult. If it's a renovation and addition, I would go to their house, because I need to see what are we starting with, and hear their ideas, and we walk through the house and talk about what could be done, just possibilities. But I'll take notes, and at a time like that, and then of course we talk about the process if they want to move to the next step. Sometimes I've even consulted with people because I hear their ideas, and I'd say, well, to do this is probably going to be such and such amount of money, and not sure I'd do that in this neighborhood. And then they come to somebody like you to list their house and look for another one. And sometimes that's the appropriate thing to do, is that from an economic standpoint, it doesn't make sense. If I'm meeting with clients about a new house, then they usually come to me. Unless they want to show me some things about where they are that they like, that they might want to repeat or duplicate, then I would go to their house and see some things that they had. But we start with a consultation. And then that's where the analogy to me of the jigsaw puzzle comes into play. Those pieces are representing things that they like and need and want. And so they may have a lot of blue, and that represents, this part. They might have other pieces that are different shapes, and those represent some other pieces. And then my job is to take all those pieces and put them together into as best of what they've described to me, what that the picture would look like. So I'm looking at, obviously, at square footage. I'm looking at the arrangement of the rooms. I'm looking at the aesthetic that they may want, if they have a particular style that they like. I'm looking at the site, if they have particular property with in fact, I met with somebody not long ago, and they had a nice site and grand ideas about what they wanted, but I asked them about the orientation, and we looked at the site, and the back of the house where they wanted the pool and all that was facing north. And I say, well, you realize this is going to be dark most of the time. So a lot of times people aren't thinking about those things. And so they're actually looking at a different lot now, because it doesn't really match their picture of what it is. So yes, I mean, of course it's my job, but it's highly important that people talk to either an architect or somebody who, is looking at the big picture, not just construction or just the design. Maybe even clients might be focused on the interior design. Well, that's not the whole thing. You need to look at the whole thing inside and out.
That's the benefit of 22 years now?
Yeah,
is that
22 years on my own. Let's see, 27 years being a registered architect.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, I think what's also good is you can take very traditional home and make it contemporary, or you can also make a build a contemporary home. So your talents are multifaceted too.
I love the variety, and that's one thing that's nice about the time that we're living in. I've lived in Greensboro my whole life, and it used to be that everyone was super safe and traditional.
Yeah.
And like brick was the thing. And that's what everybody either wanted or they felt safe with it. And now people are a lot freer with the aesthetic on the exterior. The interior layouts are far more livable and casual today. I actually think HGTV has helped the profession. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, some people think, oh, it hasn't. I think generally the public is more educated about design than they were 20, 25 years ago. And there are negatives to that because, some of I'm not sure they're realistic in their costs about some things. I don't know how they do what they do for the money. But I think there's a greater appreciation for design across the board.
Well, I think it's talking about some of your designs, like there's one here that it's just a very, how would you say, plain front house.
Yeah.
But you took it to be something beautiful.
Yeah, this one was just, I'd say a plain Jane 70s house, not a whole lot of character. The interior actually had some character, but they really wanted a more farmhousey feel, outdoor living spaces. There's a big porch on this house now, fireplace. That's a big thing now, are outdoor living spaces. And so we really added that to this house, changed up the roof lines, changed the materials, and really transformed the look of the house from a plain Jane house, I think, to something that's on that modern farmhouse feel to it, without being, strictly black and white like a lot of them.
So then you have that one, and then there's another one that is a very traditional house.
Yes.
But then how would you describe the new house that you did? You redid.
Of this one? Well, the one of the challenging things to this house, one, it was in a very nice neighborhood. But what the challenging things about this house was that it was one story and all of the interior walls were brick, which is
interior
highly unusual. Yes.
Wow.
Highly unusual. So we knew we were going to go up with a second story. And when we got into it, we were doing so much. They were like, well, let's raise the ceiling heights downstairs since we're doing that. So I had a picture in the middle where you could clearly tell the old brick and the new, but they actually had a picture where the direction they wanted to go with the exterior, and so I was trying to marry their inspiration picture to the existing conditions. So the footprint on this house did not change, but the plan interior and the addition upstairs drastically different.
Now that is a big difference. And what also, I'm sure you had that conversation. Do we stay with this house, like you were saying, or do we sell it and move somewhere else and build the house we want?
Or tear it down.
Or tear it down and build something else.
So this was a unique situation. One, very nice neighborhood, but the reality was the footprint of this house could not be built today because of the zoning.
Okay.
If we tore it down, we could not put this back.
Okay.
So by keeping the footprint of this house, we were able to do what we wanted and still have a garage that's attached, that's, that today we couldn't have put it that close to the property line. So it was advantageous where this house was to keep it in place. But there are a lot of times where it is easier and less expensive to tear it down.
Well, I think the most creative out of some of the examples you gave us was this. Is this a barn?
It was a barn. It was an actual barn.
Yeah.
There was, when I first saw it, it had barn on the right side, and on the left side they had converted to living space, sort of a retreat on 12 acres, a small farm for them to go to just on weekends and
right, like a
things like
family
that.
gathering.
So, but they ended up selling it to a couple who she grew up near here, but they live out of state. But I think they eventually want to come here full time. But they renovated it, turned it into an actual house.
Yeah.
So we actually on the barn side is all open living space, kitchen, dining, living space with a big fireplace. Added a really large garage. Upstairs has 2 bedrooms and a bonus area that have kids. But the downstairs area that had already been finished had a bedroom and bathroom. We kept that. And so there's sort of an in-law suite downstairs, added a big porch across the back. And it turned out great for its setting. And what a transformation from, an old red barn to what people would call a nice, modern farmhouse.
And what are you seeing is the number one thing that people are wanting?
Right now, I think the biggest thing that I see are outdoor living spaces. People are home a lot more, have been the last 2 years, and a lot of them can't go on vacation, haven't gone on vacation. So they're wanting to have their vacation in their backyard.
Yeah.
And so what can they do to make it a comfortable place to be and not just be inside all the time? So a lot of outdoor living spaces of multiple levels, from just simple patios to Mac Daddy porches with fireplaces, outdoor TVs, outdoor kitchens, pools with pool houses with all the amenities.
How have the increase in materials costs affected your business, but just in general, whether people decide to renovate or build?
Well, it doesn't seem to have slowed anything down. It's just kind of surprising. I would have thought logically that people would wait,
right?
Because of prices. I have not seen that happen. I don't know if that is just pent up demand, if there just aren't that many other places that they can go.
Right.
So they just decide, well, I'll renovate where I am. I'm not sure, but it has not slowed people down.
Yeah, I think we've seen that both with demand on our end, but also, folks are this allows them to be super creative in what they want to do, to be able to build their own place, to have the spaces that they want. And like you mentioned, so many more people are staying home than what maybe we did in years past. So that's really great. Some of these are phenomenal designs.
They are. And it's just, I love these, like you were saying, these outdoor pools and pool houses that you built.
This one was actually years ago, but this is a perfect example for what people want today. The pool was here, and added the pool house with really nice dining, has a fireplace that's actually 2-sided. So it's open to the covered pavilion, I would call it, that has outdoor kitchen. It has a bathroom outside for the pool, but then the fireplace is open on the other side, which has an uncovered patio.
So you can use that on
You
the
can use
outside
it.
on the nice warm days.
On a pretty day,
whatever.
they can use it outside.
And then these are some of the other examples of some of the outdoor 2-tier buildings that you did.
Screen porches with fireplaces. This has a huge wood burning fireplace, really nice deck. This one doesn't, but this house has the retractable screens on remote. It's incredible.
This house is, and this is where I was saying earlier, you can take a small little house, and still do quite an extensive remodel. You can also take a little bathroom and do a nice remodel or kitchen.
Right.
But then you can also build these multi-million dollar homes, or design, not
Yes.
build, but
Mhm.
design.
Mhm.
So you work at all different levels.
And I love that. I don't think I would want to ever limit myself to only new construction
Mhm.
or just remodeling.
Mhm.
To me, is super. It's super fun to have different. In fact, I worked on one today that was just really a master bath redo to a 60s house, and it's fun, you know. And it took me just a few hours to do a design, and they're happy, and it was fun for me to get to design something. And then I do houses like this that, you know, worked on it off and on for over a year probably. And obviously a much larger project and a lot more to it, but this was fun too.
Yeah.
And every client is different too,
Yeah.
so I enjoy that.
Well, Stephen, how would folks that might be watching get in touch with you to find out more about your architectural business?
Well, certainly they can call me. Of course, everybody has a website. I do, but I've been so busy recently that I have not updated my website in a long time, and I don't really need to attract business. So I have not spent much time and money in promoting that. But actually, my Facebook page is that I can update that, and so I'll add pictures. But that's the easiest thing.
And it's
Stephen
Stephen.
Stephen with a PH, Stephen Jobe Architect on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest connection, is just to
Absolutely.
see things that I've done.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of before and after pictures on there for renovation. I've got new houses on there. You can go back years actually and just see
Fantastic.
things that have been done.
And you even have your remodel where you did one yourself.
I finally got
Your
to do
house.
one for myself last year. That was, it actually was really fun. I mean, you know, a lot of people say just, you know, remodeling can be a nightmare. And not everything was perfect, but it was fun.
But you had a great architect. So
Yeah.
Made it a nice
It made it a
smooth
lot
the
easier.
process.
connections,
Yeah,
right?
I had the
that's right.
connections, yeah.
Well, Stephen, thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us. It's been such a pleasure talking with you. We've known each other for a long time. I think we've all known each other a long time. We're so happy to see how your business has prospered, and
Thanks.
it's great to drive around town and see a lot of what you've designed as we're driving and showing properties around town. It's like, I know Stephen did that house, or Stephen did that house. So that's fantastic. Well,
Thanks.
listen, I just wanted to thank you all for joining us for this latest broadcast of the Prosperity Builders podcast. And so we look forward to connecting with you again soon and bringing you the latest and greatest from community leaders and business leaders around town.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.